Pilate again entered the headquarters. He summoned Jesus and asked him, "Are you the King of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this on your own, or did somebody tell you about me? I'm not a Jew, am I? Your whole nation and your chief priest have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Well, my kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here. So, you are a king? You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. All those who believe, or all those who belong to the truth, listen to my voice. Then Pilate asked, "What is truth?" The gospel of the Lord.
Praise you, O Christ.
I invite you to be seated. The Gospel of John is full of questions. In training for sales, which I did before I went into ministry, I was into sales and went to so many different trainings, but many of them talk about don't answer a question straight out. Answer a question with a question. Does it come in white? Well, do you want it in white? The answer is yes, you know that they want it in white. If the answer is no, you say, well, what color do you want? And you get deeper answers by asking more questions. And Pilate asks a deep, deep question. He says, what is truth? What is truth? What are you talking about? The people that belong to the truth listen to your voice. What is this that is coming from your mouth? What is this truth? To know what the truth is, especially in the Gospel of John, we have to go back to John 1, the very first part of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Jesus came and dwelt among us. In chapter 8 of John's Gospel, one of the disciples says, "We don't know where you're going. How can we know the way?" And Jesus answers, "I am the way and the truth and the life." In chapter 8, that was chapter 14, by the way, not chapter. In chapter 8, he's talking to a large group of followers, and he says, if you know the truth will make you free. He talks about the Son being in the house, having a place in the house forever, and he says, so if you know the truth, you know the Son will make you free. So Jesus claims to be the truth. He says, or let's see, Jesus is not only the truth, but Jesus with Pilate says he is a king in one way. He doesn't come right out and say it. He talks about my kingdom is not from this world. He talks about being a king in a way that Pilate can't imagine. And you know, we in our 21st century world, we try to think that we know more than Pilate about being a king because we know that Jesus lived and died and rose again and is indeed our king. But I have news for you. We still don't have it figured out completely. We won't have it figured out completely until we're actually before that King in all his glory. But that doesn't mean that we can't try to talk about it. Doesn't mean that we can't add something to our understanding of what it is to say that Jesus is King. And what it is to say that Jesus' reign is here and now. By the way, Ashley, don't worry about a few little squeals. We'll be just fine, okay? We like the squeals. The screaming and tears popping out and, all of that maybe. But anyway, what about Jesus being King and being in the reign of God in the here and now? Jesus says, my kingdom is not from this world. And Pilate tries to nail him down to what he's talking about, but Jesus doesn't play by Pilate's rules. And eventually Jesus is crucified because he refuses to play by Pilate's rules. He refuses to play by the scribes and the chief priests and the elders and the Pharisees and the Sadducees' rules. He's a rule breaker, you might say, but to be honest, he's more than a rule breaker. He's a rule changer. He lives by rules that are different than those that everybody else lives by. So what does it mean for us to not simply to name Jesus as King, but to actually expect Jesus to exercise, reign, and rule over us? To submit to his rule. What does it mean not simply to call Jesus Lord, but to give him lordship, authority over our lives? In our 21st century Lancaster world, it's not likely that we want to give reign and rule over our lives to anybody or anything. We've got life pretty good. We like to think that we've got life by the tail and that things are going well until they aren't. Until we lose a job, until we lose a loved one, until a pet dies, until things start to crumble around us. We like to think that we are the rulers of our own lives. And then life comes along and proclaims that much of our confidence is an illusion. Martin Luther, in his catechism, in his small catechism, liked to ask questions, much like the author of John. And when he was working on the Lord's Prayer, he came to the part of your kingdom come. We're talking about Jesus as a king on this Christ the King Sunday. And Martin Luther says, what does this mean? Your kingdom come. And he wrote, God's kingdom comes on its own without our prayer. Isn't that an odd thing to hear? God's kingdom comes on its own without our prayer. And he says, why pray then? But we ask that it may also come to us. Not just to the ethereal world, but that God's kingdom come to us, to each and every one of us. Not only when things are down and out, but when things are up and alive and everywhere in between. It's hard to hear. It's hard to let someone or something be number one in our lives over our own egos, over our own wants and needs. But it's also good news. It's also good news when we realize that we're not in control, that we don't have to have it all together, and we don't have to. It's good news that God is God and we're not. It's good news that Jesus is King and we are not. In this crazy season of Christmas that started, a couple of days ago on Black Friday. Anybody get any nice big screen TVs or big things for Black Friday? Susie's waving her hand. We got another new house. Seems like I told Susie we got to quit going away because every time we go away we buy a new house. We actually are buying our children's house. They're moving into a bigger house. You know, when they got twins, they had a nice starter house. But when the twins started crawling, they figured out pretty quickly that their house is way too small. And so they're buying a bigger, brand new house. And so we're buying their house, and we'll rent it back to them while their house is being built. And then we'll have that for an investment. And we won't be buying, well, we might still be buying one more house because the one we bought up north fell through. So, who knows how many houses we're going to. You know what? That's immaterial. What are we talking about? We're talking about Jesus being king, and I'm talking about houses. Well, as Jesus said to the disciples, there are many houses in his Father's kingdom. And we can be a part of that kingdom. So what is it to say that Jesus is king? Not 2,000 years ago, but today. What is it for us to say that Jesus is king? We are praying. We are praying that Jesus' rule of peace and justice and equity and equality would come. Not just to the world, but to us. And that we might be a part of it. As we roll through this Christmas season, may we be people who can say that the Christ who is and who was and who is to come is our King. May we be people who can say, I want to be part of that kingdom. Whatever God wants that to mean. May we be people who say Merry Christmas. May we be people that say Happy Holidays. May we be people that mean it with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our